Alright guys, I do not know about you, but I'm in the mood for a beer. And today we are going over to the Northern Monk Brewery and we're going to look at another one of their Patrons Project beers. Probably my favourite ongoing sort of beer series, I think you can call it, at the moment right now. And a little bit greasy because it's a bit warm. It's my day off. We've been out all day. Didn't really want to have to use talcum powder to rejuvenate my hair, so you've just got to bear with me. But yeah, so we are looking at a can of the double dry hopped Raspberry Ripple Donut IPA, and this is Patrons Project 10.2, and this is part of the Culinary concepts. And this was brewed in collaboration with another place added to the bucket list, Temple Donuts in Leeds. And yeah, so this is brewed with Huell, Melon, Mosaic, Belma and Citra, and then with additions of raspberry, vanilla and milk sugar. And clocking in at 600, whoa, that'd be a pretty potent beer. 6.3% ABV. And first of all, how wonderful is that artwork? It's a photograph of some donuts from Temple and with a nice holographic film, which sort of reminds me of Pokemon cards for whatever reason. But yeah, so Temple Coffee and Donuts specialise exactly in what their name suggests: great coffee and great donuts. Since their opening in October 2017, they've barely been able to keep up with the demand for their quirky, eye-catching and colourful creations. From downright bonkers donuts, glazes to their Black Sabbath coffee. Their motto is "Have a good time, all the time." Sounds good to us, and it certainly sounds good to me as well. It will definitely be a place that I will be visiting when I'm in Leeds, which there may be a little bit of a meet-up with Rob on the cards and a few other people in a month or so, or you never know, I could have uploaded the video long after that's happened, but we shall see. But yeah, donuts, man. You can blame Rob for this, the whole pairing beer with donuts thing, which he mentioned on the chat, and it was just like light bulb. And yeah, so I do, funny enough, have some Krispy Kreme donuts downstairs, but I'm not sure if I'll be doing a sort of a Clueless Eats video. Who knows, maybe. But yeah, this just sounds terrific, and I know Rob enjoyed it. Can't remember too much what he thought of it compared to what else is out there, but for all intents and purposes, I think he did really enjoy it. And this is bought from Northern Beer Temple in Wigan. Fantastic shop. I've had access to so many great beers through that shop alone, and yeah, just an awesome place and time. So links will be included down below, as well as links to both Northern Monk and of course Temple Coffee and Donuts. So, notes from the brewer. For this culinary concept, we looked to take inspiration from Temple Coffee and Donuts with their creatively flavoured donuts that have truly captured the people of Leeds' imagination. With their creations in mind, we decided to combine one of our favourite flavours of our youth and inject a playful sense of fun into the beer, whilst also looking at how to deconstruct those raspberry ripple dessert flavours into beer form. The grist featured wheat and oats heavily, as well as a touch of malt, Munich malt, to try and replicate the soft, bready nature of the donut. Then, to create the classic raspberry ripple flavour, we used milk sugar, a ridiculous amount of pureed raspberry, and some Madagascan vanilla pods. Finally, it wouldn't be an IPA without some big hop action. We chose Belma to lead as it gives us a really unique strawberry raspberry character, backed up with the soft flesh full notes of Melon, Mosaic and Citra. So Belma, I might have had a beer with that hop in, but it certainly sounds like a new one on me, to be honest. But yeah, I'm really excited to try this one. So without any further ado, let's get the beer opened and see what we get. A bit splashed on my leg, but oh well. So, beer in the glass then. and that is pouring absolutely wonderfully. So I won't pour that all in right now. Can't even formulate proper words today, don't know why. But yeah, that's got a nice little bit of a haze to it. It's a little bit darker than what you would expect from some of these beers, but then again, it's not exactly supposed to be like a haze bomb New England style IPA. But it certainly has those sorts of vibes about it. But yeah, it's got that lovely sort of cloudy, suspended, fruity look to it. You know, when you've got like a fruit juice and there's still little bits and bobs in there, like a natural juice. Of course, loads of lovely tiny little bits floating around, suspended in that glass. But yeah, it's like it looks like a fruited beer for all intents and purposes. And yeah, lovely sort of deep orangey tones to it. And then the beer poured with about one finger's worth of a slightly off-white head. But certainly looks very appetising thus far. So let's give it a sniff. Gotta be honest, the hops are taken over on this beer, on the nose. You do get that raspberry right in the bottom, in the lower. No, what's the? Not in the background, because it's not like a, oh, hello, can you smell me? It's, you know, detectable, but it's all about those hops, and that potency of the Citra hop for me is in there. But yeah, it's got that sort of like sweet bready aroma. So they've definitely got like a sweet donut sort of aroma in there as well, but it is, of course, smelling like a pale ale or an IPA, a hoppy IPA, which is what it is. Just with additions of some nice little treats, which I'm sure will come out more in the flavour as opposed to the nose, but still a lovely smelling beer. One of those ones you could just sit there and smell all day. It's so nice and gentle and rounded, and yeah, I'm definitely getting the idea of a right big raspberry ripple donut with this. But of course, hopped up. Anyway, smells lovely, so let's give it a taste. Cheers. And without like abusing it with adjuncts, they've actually nailed it with this beer. You're getting big hoppy notes throughout, primarily, I would say, as you would expect with this style of beer. But then there's this lovely slight tart raspberry character. The vanilla and the milk sugar, you don't really taste them too much. You do get that slight vanilla, almost like vanilla sugar, I'd say. And then it all comes together really, really nicely. But the breadiness is sweet in that one. And those oats have really helped the body of this beer. It's not the heaviest by any stretch, or the boldest, but yeah, it's, without it being really sweet, it's a raspberry ripple double dry hopped IPA. And it tastes absolutely lovely. Yeah, that puree that they've probably used, or the mashed up raspberry, has worked really, really well with those hops, and it all complements each other beautifully. So hopheads might be a little bit disappointed, but this isn't one of those beers, is it really? It's just a little bit of fun, bit experimental, paid homage to what is seeming to become a little bit of an institution within the hipsters of Leeds. And again, a place that, oh my god, look at that. Okay, now that's a game changer. Alright, I'd say this all the time. Why don't I just pour all the beer in the glass at once so I can get the full effect straight away? Because I don't know how well that's picking up on camera. Speaking of camera, they would hate this beer. But look at that. Look at those chunks. And I'm not talking about my chin or my plethora of chins. Just look at that. That is absolutely insane. It reminds me of like, you know, that glitter beer that's going around. It's as if it's lost its shine. But look at that, man. Oi, 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 oi. It was coming out a different colour. But look at that. That is insane. So we'll give that a bit of a swirl and give it another taste. Well, a sniff first. Definitely more of a breadiness there. Definitely more of that raspberry in there as well. Yeah, the hop potency has toned down a little bit, but it's still a lovely, pleasant smelling IPA. So let's see how it's changed in its flavour. Yeah, I should have just poured this beer in straight away, but I'm actually glad I didn't, because it just shows you how complex beers can be. I mean, that hoppiness has muted down really nicely, and it's letting that raspberry and the milk sugar and the vanilla come out a little bit more. It's softened that beer and become a little bit more full-bodied and rounded with the, as you can clearly see. You might actually have to pick out a few of those little bits from between your teeth when you've finished. I haven't seen a beer like that for a while. But of course, if it's in the bottle or in the can, just drink it. It's, you know, it's not bad for you. They wouldn't put it, you know, on sale if it was like, oh, but just make sure you don't pour all the beer in because you will die. You know, that just won't happen. So it's all protein anyway. So do you know what I mean? It's all good for you. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Because you do get some of these people who get a little bit squeamish. Understandable when you're seeing little clumps of stuff in your beer. But if it's in there, it's to be consumed. So consume it. That's the way I see it. Anyway, let's have another taste. Yeah, file this under. Just pour it all in the glass straight away if you want the best effect of that beer. It's changed so much. It was leaning more to the, like a standard, well, really nicely brewed, but like not generic, that's not the right word, but it's like it's a double dry hopped IPA with a little bit of a quirkiness to it. But once it's all in there, they've nailed the style. I think they've done a really good job replicating a raspberry ripple donut in there without it being like, we put like 100 kilograms of raspberry ripple donuts into the mash, and you know, or like using syrups and flavourings and stuff to replicate that. Yeah, it is technically adjunct, but they've done a really good job of how they've approached this one. I mean, does it taste like you're literally drinking a raspberry ripple donut? No, it doesn't. Of course not. You'd have to fill the beer with so many artificial flavours to get that sort of stuff. But you see the can, you hear the concept, you drink the beer, it all makes sense. It all flows. It's not like, oh, well, they could have done... No, it's raspberry ripple donut in an IPA. Done really, really well. And it's not just a gimmicky beer. It's a really well-brewed and satisfying IPA. And if you like vanilla, if you like raspberries, if you like that sort of stuff, it's shining in there really nicely. I personally find sometimes vanilla to be too sickly. It doesn't matter what the item is. Vanilla, if it's too vanilla-y, I just can't do it. It's just too much for me. There's just the right amount in there to help lift it. It's like just putting that little bit of salt and pepper on something. You don't want to bombard it so completely change the flavour. You just want it so it all emphasises all the other flavours and works together. And I think that's what the vanilla's done there. As with the sugar, the milk sugar, but that raspberry is lovely. And it's still all like, there's action in that glass. It's so fantastic. Just look at that. It's wonderful. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's going to be fun to clean that glass though. But anyway, so is it the greatest IPA that I've ever had? No, but it's definitely up there with the best that Northern Monk have been doing recently. they've been absolutely nailing it for me personally with the Northern Patrons project. The only one that I've not really been too much of a fan of was the peanut butter jelly brown ale. I think that could have been tweaked a little bit and developed a bit more. But this, I'd love to see more collaborations with Temple Coffee and Donuts, because I think if there was a brewery to do that in the UK, it would be Northern Monk, and not just because it's that Leeds connection. But yeah, another fantastic job from Northern Monk as part of their Patrons project. So I'm very happy to give that one an 8.5 out of 10. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. And it's not too heavy either, which I really like. So I can sit outside in the heat and enjoy it without feeling, a bit too heavy on the guts. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10. That's what I'm going to give it. Check out Northern Monk as well as Temple Coffee and Donuts. Check out my Patrons Project playlist. It's definitely my favourite beer series this year, even though I think it's been going for a couple of years now. Some of the collaborations and concepts have just been like, what? And I mean, come on, let's face it. Northern Monk have produced one of the best beers of the year with the oh my god, what's it called? It was the no. You know what I'm talking about. The beer that they did with Other Half and Equinox. But yeah, fantastic stuff. So if you've tried this one, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. If you've got any beers that sound like this, I'd love to try the Rogue Donut beers as well. And yeah, of course, check out Rob's review, as well as any other of the guys who reviewed this beer. Check out Northern Monk, check out Temple Coffee and Donuts, don't know if you could hear me being shouted at. And yeah, check out my IPA playlist as well. And of course, Northern Beer Temple, because great shop. Anyway, I've waffled on for way too long. Another winner chicken dinner from Northern Monk and our Patrons project. So, thoughts, opinions, always welcome. And yeah, another nearly 18-minute video. Good going, Peter. Fantastic. What was that beer called now? I can't remember. Just, you can look it up on YouTube.